you may have heard that the job market has been experiencing some, really, really big layoffs. You can see right here from the Kobayashi letter. Right there, just the number of employees that have been removed from all kinds of positions throughout the labor market. And, here at That Park Place, we have been keeping you up to date on what's been happening in the theme park, specifically Disneyland Resort. You can see right here, Disneyland cuts cast member hours while raising prices for guests. This October 10, 2025. So we were a little bit ahead of the curve on this specific reduction in terms of labor output for the Disneyland Resort. Now, here's the thing about this. We have been predicting that the frontline cast members were going to be affected. We still believe that is the case. But Disney threw us a curveball a little bit in that they removed 100 salaried cast members from their positions. Here you go from Scott Gustin. Disneyland Resort is eliminating, quote, a limited number of salary positions from various teams across the resort. Approximately 100 cast members will be impacted. And here's the full statement by the spokesperson. With our business in a period of steady, sustained operation, we are recalibrating our organization to ensure that we continue to deliver exceptional experiences for our guests while positioning Disneyland Resort for the future. As part of this, we've made the difficult decision to eliminate a limited number of salary positions, and we are deeply grateful for the contributions of these cast members and are committed to supporting them with care, respect, resources during this transition. That they're being very vague on who these salary positions are. We don't believe that these are frontline cast members. In fact, we believe that this is more of the operations and maybe even Tim Disney Anaheim itself. Culture, was that your take on this?
Yeah, that is my take on this. It's what my expectations are. And again, this just is a grim reminder that for the people, the spreadsheet warriors, to get their bonuses at the end of the year, they have to go for the knees of the actual people who make things happen at the company.
Yeah, this is really devastating and sad to hear. I want to go ahead and bring on, a former cast member at not Disneyland, but actually at Walt Disney World. Ron from Fall Out Bradley's Fun. Hello there, Ron. We were just talking about 100 cast members being eliminated from operational positions. We're thinking this is, and they're being very vague. I'm guessing it's to comply with California law. I believe it's the WARN Act, if I'm not mistaken, 60 days in advance and so forth. Ron, I want to go ahead and get from you. Are you necessarily surprised to hear this in this economic environment that we now live in?
It's not a surprise, this, and especially since the lockdown era, bringing back cast members, letting go of cast members. It's all been, the operations have been completely different. I mean, the fact of the matter is, especially for the pent up demand, there was a lot of need for bringing in cast members. They didn't have enough, actually, at first. So there's a very good chance they may have overhired during that course of pent up demand. And, now they're trying to figure out a way to break even. Plus, they keep having to raise the wages based on, do they have I think they have the unions, but it's different unions out at California than they have at Disney World.
Different unions out in California, and I will say the unions that represent frontline cast members aren't the same unions that represent salaried cast members, if they do even at all. I don't believe they do. But this was all kind of leading up to, the biggest wage settlement case in history. That was actually, waged in California with $233 million. By the way, I believe that's with interest going out to those frontline cast members. And I do believe in order to, make up for that huge loss that I'm sure that they weren't necessarily, trying to achieve there, they have to make up for that loss.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, look, the fact of the matter is, I'll be surprised if we don't hear about more Disney layoffs, but on the entertainment side of things as well, because look, the parks still do make money. They're profitable. And the entertainment side of things, I don't know. I mean, at least on the movie side, the box office has not been kind to Disney at all this year. Now, they have sports to make up for it. It's a huge company, so there's lots of different places to kind of try and pick off, as we learned last night, possibly gambling, which is the weirdest thing ever. But it's they have to figure, somebody upstairs in the company, if you will, has to figure out how to balance, how to balance the budget, and this is what happens.
It's an interesting idea, Ron. Culture, I want to go to you for this. I mean, you have 100 salary cast members. People are maybe like, the resort has 36,000 cast members. That's not a whole lot. It's like, that's true, but I'm thinking that this is the start
Yeah.
of layoffs and reductions.
Well,
Would you agree with that?
yeah, I'm with you, and I think that might be department heads and stuff like that are caught up in that, right? And like executive support, you're going to lose some people in that. But like I said, if it's what I fear it is, operations is going to have some real problems going forward, and again, that's what the indications are from the inside. So, am I worried? Well, I'm not going to the park anytime soon, so no. I'm sad for the people that are going to be affected by this. I really am. A lot of people bet their career and their livelihood on Disney, and with current leadership there, and again the spreadsheet warriors, running things through the bean counting process, stepping over dollars to make dimes. That's where we're at.
Well, you got to anticipate too that Disney anticipated that they would have 7 blockbusters on their hands, or at least that much this year, right? And then instead they had 7 flops. That money has to come from somewhere, and they are spending upwards of $60 billion over the next 10 years in order to infuse these parks with much needed attractions. Well, we all can debate the quality of those and if the costs are necessarily worth it. I'm not just talking about profit, or sorry, cash. But when you look at the enormous capital expenditures that they face, when you look at the declining labor market as a whole, when you look at the attrition that they've experienced attendance-wise this year, and who knows how those Magic Key sales are actually making out there, something's got to give.
Yeah, it something does have to give, and it should have given a long time ago. I mean, the explanation behind the downgrades they've done, and the necessary downgrade with Tiana's. By the way, that's not my language. That's their language, along with their shape language, which is not, and nobody's really caring all that much about. But this is going to be a problem for Disney going forward because they are no longer about excellence in guest experience. They're about excellence in earning bonuses. That's it.
Yeah, and, the odd thing about that, and culture talked about tripping over dollars to make dimes. When you put the guest experience first, you put the actual storytelling first and the guest experience first, you always end up making that profit because people will clamor onto that. When you look at, and I go back to this all the time because I just can't get it out of my head, and that is the 2015 commercial. And this was, of course, more specifically about Disney World than Disneyland, but it's still about what Disney as a company was giving to guests. And guests got so much. You get, the Magical Express, and you've got the free magic bands, the free fast passes, all of those things, not free, but like included with your price, and the price was even lower. And that also freed up your dollars as a Disney guest to buy more merchandise and incentivize a lot. It just, guests used to have so much more incentive coming to Disney than they do now. And here's the thing, that commercial from 10 years ago, it probably enticed people who weren't able to afford to go until today. And so now you look at, okay, wow, I love this Disney. I want to go to this Disney. And they save up for 10 years, are finally able to take their Disney vacation now, and look what they're getting, and they're getting disappointed. And what Disney doesn't realize that long-term effect that they're creating by now, you got guests that had all of these expectations. They go, they're not getting what they want. They're going to pass that word of mouth along. And over time, we're just going to see more and more of a downfall unless something is done to improve the guest experience. And as anybody who's ever been to Disney knows, the most important part of the guest experience is the cast member. So I mean, like my interactions that are positive with cast members are part of the thing that keep me coming back. And Disney, of all the companies, has the opportunity to give that. And right now they have realigned their budget so that the money is not going where it needs to go. And because of that, I don't think that they're going to get what they're spending back. And we've seen that, and obviously no financial advice, but we've seen that in sort of the flatlining of the stock price. It went up, went down, and it's fluctuated, but still, I mean, you're not making more money on the stock than you were 10 years ago, and that's not a good thing.
Well, they're just not appealing to the broadest possible market. Buck Diver in the chat was saying something about seeing commercial had 0 kids in it. I can believe that. Disney
It's
isn't for
true.
kids anymore. They are pushing families out, which is ruining their future. And look, I mean, somewhere in the media pile to my left, and again, I wish I could have found it really quickly, is a videotape, not a CD, not a DVD, a videotape of everything you could expect on your Disney World vacation.
Right.
If I played that for you guys right now, it would be heartbreaking what you used to get, what used to be there, and that isn't anymore. The first few years of the Splash Mountain attraction, was a big deal. In fact, that was one of the primary attractions that they showed in every sizzle reel, yeah. And so it's just we've got to remind leadership there that you have to offer value, and that if you don't, you're going to end up like Las Vegas, which is basically a ghost town now, because they did the same strategy Disney's doing, and is only trying to appeal to elites. The problem is the elite have opportunity everywhere. They don't have to go to Vegas, and they're certainly not going to keep that town
Right.
alive. So again, not appealing to families. You're sacrificing the future.
And the future, it is in the active process of being sacrificed. I mean, these 100 cast members, I do believe, are part of that. I have to believe that that's part of it. They can say recalibrating all they want, but I just don't buy it, not from what we're hearing internally. And here's the thing, folks. I know the Evil Queen story broke out, over the weekend and so forth. And I know that Disney was quick to say, we're not going to have any changes or whatever. But you have two separate actresses putting their jobs on the line, insinuating that they might be cut. Maybe it was a successful campaign by them, but I still believe there's a little bit of fire from that smoke right there. And the other thing, too, is Walt Disney World, we haven't really heard of any cast members being impacted over there, but I have to believe that's coming if these numbers hold when it comes to attendance. I mean, October, it looks like it was going to go back up and then drop back down once again.
Well, unfortunate timing of Melissa. She's such an evil lady. Everybody ran away from Florida.
Yeah, that's a very good point. But look, it's going to be 3 to 5 years before you get those new expansions out there in Walt Disney World. What does the operation look like when people are waiting that long for those expansions? Do people put off their vacations? Can they provide the deals necessary to get people back in for that period of time? I'm not really sure. Ron,
well, and people have that other opportunity across town to go to take a vacation and enjoy virtually everything being open. And I look at the Rip Ride Rocket already down, already looking. I was there on the ground the other day and looking what the process they're in. And I mean, whatever is going in there, and we don't know yet. I think it's going to be built well, built quickly, and it will probably be up. Obviously, I think it'll be up before the end of 2026. They just go so much faster and so much more efficiently when they're building something new at Universal. We saw that with Epic, and now you have. And also, I visited Volcano Bay for the first time. Oh my gosh, boy, does that beat any water park that Disney has to offer. And I didn't even get to on the attraction. I just kind of walked around, took a lot of pictures. I'm like, wow, the offerings are just out of this world. I didn't realize how tall the actual volcano is. That thing's tall.
And I think when you examine the Universal or Comcast earnings and so forth, and you look at how many people have actually been attending those theme parks, even in lieu of everything that these macroeconomic issues that these theme park proprietors like to cite, I think they are being paid handsomely for their investments versus Disney. It's going to be hurting for quite some time. I think these cast members being laid off is just the first of many different operational changes that we'll see in the future, and we'll keep everybody updated here on That Park Plays.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.